morning, everybody. Welcome to On Deck on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Our first inaugural baseball episode. I'm Russ Morgan here with Rob Mosley. Uh, Excited to be here, ready to talk some baseball. Rob, how you doing?
I'm ready to play ball, talk baseball. It's great here on the Fins Talk Sports Network, the premiere episode. I'm honored to be here with you, Russ, to be the premiere episode of a baseball-oriented show on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Love it. Make sure you guys know those thumbs up button for us.
Yeah, like, follow, comment. Hey, Rob, pitchers and catchers just reported here in Florida and Arizona. I'm geared up for spring training. My first year living in Florida, so I'm jacked up. I'm here in Sarasota, so we got a lot of teams in Tampa and Clearwater and Sarasota, which I'm in Sarasota, so it's right down the street. So I'm jacked up for that. We're gonna be talking AL moves today, so I'm a diehard Yankees fan. I'm sorry, Rob. So
I know it happens. I got I wore a 2004 Red Sox
I
cap
don't.
just for your honor. So
It's all good. I don't know. I kind of being a Yankees fan, and I just want to throw this out. I think since like the last maybe 2015, my hate for the Red Sox has started going down just because I feel the rivalry doesn't have the same spark like it did in the early 2000s. I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And because the less division games you play, and down there, we're going to go to the even more less because you're going to play every team in the league. So it's just like, yeah, it takes a little bit away, but it's still always when it comes around, it's always still Red Sox Yankees. There's a little special feeling in the air, when that time comes around. It normally makes Sunday night baseball, and it's still good, but yeah, it's not that intense rivalry. Maybe we both need to be contending again and have Alex Rodriguez try and Veritek stop him from charging the mound. We need some of that again, so but
It's
it's
just,
been a
I
while.
mean, you're not getting prepared anymore for a 4.5 hour to 5 hour Yankees Red Sox game on Sunday night anymore.
That's a good point. The pitch clock has changed those long battle games. I know it used to be forever. You knew you better have 4 hours invested at least if you would watch the Red Sox versus Yankees.
Right? All right, so we're going to kick it off with some AL news. Kick it off with the Yankees they traded for Juan Soto, which was the biggest move. They got Alex Verdugo from the Red Sox. Usually never really happens. And they
Yeah.
picked up Marcus Stroman. Rob, I'm going to go to you on this one. With the Soto trade, Yankees barely over 500 last year. Do you think that this moves the needle a little bit in the AL and puts them into maybe contending for a World Series?
Yeah, it definitely moves you up the division for sure. Jealous of that. Orioles are still really good. People are just like writing them off like as a 1 year wonder, but so they're still to be contended with. The Blue Jay, I mean, the AL East is very tough from top to bottom. I mean, the Red Sox still won like 78 games last year, but they were in last place. So it's a very tough division from bottom to top. But yeah, you got Stroman, you got Soto added to an already pretty solid team. So yeah, I mean, you guys definitely are going to be in contention throughout the whole year. It's a very tough American League, keep in mind. But yes, you should be very hopeful for your Yankees this year. So
I mean, for me, I'm hopeful. I think Soto definitely helps being a left-handed bat with that short porch in right field. Put up 35 homers last year, bat 275. You got that short porch. I'm more excited that he's this guy's got a great eye at the plate and a great command of the strike zone, which I'm ready for him to get on base, get a little protection for Aaron Judge, which is definitely big because I know we got Bobby who's a big Marlins guy. I'm not. I hate Giancarlo Stanton. I'm not a fan, and I'm kind of happy because he's definitely you're adding those couple left-handed bats with Verdugo and Soto that maybe they're not home run and bust guys.
right.
Where I feel like since Aaron Boone came wrong, let's hit the home run. I'm like, yeah, that works maybe in the regular season. In the playoffs, not so much. I want guys on base. I want guys working counts, knocking those starting pitchers out, get to that bullpen. I'm more worried about their staff. I think Stroman kind of he adds a little bit, but for me, I'm not really besides Garrett Cole. I'm not really. I don't know who I'm comfortable with. You got Carlos Rondon. If he's healthy, he was been off injured his whole career. I don't. I mean, what do you think about that staff after having confidence in Garrett Cole, who just won the Cy Young?
Yeah, I know. I can say you got a Cy Young guy on your team. You can't complain too much. And then, yeah, Rodon, when healthy, is a very solid pitcher. And then you get strong. I mean, you're pretty deep, I think, compared to your team last year. I mean, I'm jealous on my Red Sox, because we traded Ray, our Chris Sell, and we brought in some guys that we would get to when we start talking about the Red Sox. But I mean, overall, yes, I think no team can never have enough pitching. That's the bottom line in this day and age, because the more starters you have, the less taxing it is on your bullpen, and you want guys that can eat up some innings, and and you guys got I think you guys are moving in the right direction. Unfortunately, it pains me to say as a Red Sox fan, because we're just doing another what they're calling bridge year to get to our young guys, which may be good fruitful in the long run, but for the next couple, for this year and last year, it stinks.
I mean, it's definitely when I feel when the Yankees and the Red Sox are better, it's better for baseball because you're bringing more eyes. Red Sox, Red Sox fans are passionate and they know their baseball
Oh
as
no,
much
we're
as
definitely, yeah, we're definitely passionate, and we're definitely frustrated because when one of your team guys in the front office says we're going to be full throttle, and then you think, oh my god, this is going to be a fun free agency, and then it's been lackluster to say the least. I mean,
I
so
mean, but you're definitely right. The AL is stacked. AL East is just recently been stacked. We'll see how the Rays are. Rays have I mean, I'm kind of jealous of the Rays. I was a scout for a while, so their scouting department, what they do, but with the players they find from Rosarena to Glass now is amazing. But they're definitely taking a step back a little bit with they traded Glass now to the Dodgers, just add one more player to the Dodgers, and now they're talking maybe shipping a Rosarena too, which is kind of surprising because the Rays are getting a new ballpark here in a couple of years, which is good because I think the Trop is the worst baseball field in America.
I know I've been there a few times when the Red Sox go, because I'm in Florida too, so I drive over to St. Petersburg and catch when the Red Sox come to town at least once a year. And yeah, it's not the greatest. Good thing
If
is, it's not going to be, at least when I drive over there, I know it's not going to be rained out. That's about the that's about the highlight of going to the Trop. At least I know we're not going to get a rain out after spending a 4.5 hours drive over there. So that's
I
good. But yeah, it is what it is.
if the biggest appeal of the stadium for the Rays is it's not going to be 105 with humidity, I don't see much appeal to the stadium. But I'm super excited. Kind of excited for the Yankees, but we had some serious moves. The NL obviously is. We'll be talking about the NL next week. That will be that's where all the action happened this year. But you brought up Baltimore. Baltimore this year added Corbin Burns.
Yeah, that's the big move right there, boy. On an already pretty stacked team with their young guys that they have, and then Craig Kimbrough, whatever. He drove me to drink. I don't even drink, and he would drive me to drink when he would come in for the Red Sox because he's so unkill. But they still made some moves to bolster this team, and it looks like they want to win, and they just got new owners. A lot of their young guys. This is what teams say when they do. This is what the Astros did, and it worked for them. They had all those young guys. I remember someone made that prediction. Oh, this would be the eventual champs and whatever, and it came to fruition. This is what the Orioles been working for, man. They got the Rutschman kid. They got all these young guys that are just off the charts good, man. And what's the other kid? The Hunter, whatever. What's his name? Gunnar Henderson.
Gunnar
He's
Henderson.
awesome, man. I mean, they just got so many young talent on that team, and Steve there is an Orioles fan, so we can have him on the show one day. He's been an Orioles fan from way back in the days, the old time player. So, you know, he, he's happy to see his Orioles getting back up and moving.
I mean,
And I mean, all the back it up bins. He's back it up. I didn't see him sneak in here. He's another good guy. He's another Orioles fan. The Orioles fans are outdoing us, Russ.
I mean, that team's already really, like we said, they got the names for the third baseman. I just forgot his name. It, is amazing. Adley Rutschman. I've been watching that kid since college. I'm a big college baseball guy, so I got to go out and see him when he was at Oregon State, and when I was in California, he came and play at USC. And that guy is just a freak, and he's 6'4", and batting from both sides, tearing it up. I think even though the Yankees added Soto and Verdugo and Stroman, the Orioles, one move and they just changed the balance. With pitching wasn't their strong point last year, but they add this frontline starter, and Corbin Burns just changes everything.
Yeah, I think Gunnar Henderson's the third baseman. The guy.
Yeah, Gunnar Henderson. That was
The guy I had said. Yeah, he's the. But no, you're right, man. I mean, and what he I didn't even link that guy to the he's right. What Jeff of the Back It Up Ben's podcast says is like that general manager has a magic touch. I guess he knows how to build from youth and build solid winners.
And it's the being a guy who scouted, and obviously I wasn't doing that, but I'm like, you gotta hit on these guys, and they had high picks and they hit. You gotta I mean, if you're getting a high pick, you gotta hope it hits. They hit with Rutschman, they hit with Gunnar Henderson. I'm waiting to see if Jackson Holiday gets a call up this year. I'm really excited to see him. He's only 19, but the kid's been flying through the system. And I mean, they even have guys like Heston Kjerstad from Arkansas, who's was a high pick, can't even barely get a cup of coffee. So I mean, this is a team that adds Burns, maybe adds Holiday. Has already got 102 wins, best in the AL. And
that's what I was saying. They're and I know I see a lot of people predicting your Yankees to win the AL East. I see some Orioles and I see some Blue Jays in there, but I haven't seen the Rays or the Reds. Rays, get no respect, but they're always competitive. I understand why no one's going to predict the Red Sox. I get, but the Rays, they're always up there competitive. But you're right. The Orioles have done it right. They've built through youth. And then they made the big trade to get Burns because they had prospects to give for Burns, and they're able to, take a gamble that maybe the new owners will sign him to a long-term contract, because he's like a one-year rental right now. But that's a great move. I mean, that's just solid, solidifies that Orioles team too. My best friend actually growing up he's a Miami Dolphin fan like me, but he picked the Orioles. And I picked the Red Sox growing up down here because we both wanted to be different than our whole neighborhood that loved your Yankees here in South Florida.
I don't know why that. I mean, why that is. I mean, it's not like I guess I could see people in the Tampa area because the Rays, there wasn't a baseball team there in Tampa, and the Yankees are right there in Tampa, going with the Yankees. But Miami doesn't make much sense to me being a Yankees fan. I mean, I guess didn't really.
We got so many New Yorkers. We got so many New Yorkers down here for one, and then so they hear about it. And then two, the Yankees many moons ago spring trained out of Fort Lauderdale. So if you go,
I did not know that.
So if you go way, way back, and then the Orioles used to spring train out of here in Miami, so I can understand that. My Red Sox before they moved to Fort Myers used to spring train in Winter Haven. And
I got a buddy I used to work with who brought that up. So I'm definitely got to get out, get down to that. I know that ballpark's pretty nice down in Fort Myers, and but yeah, like you said, Rob, I think that Burns just changes everything. Even though Soto was a big one move just changes the whole landscape of the AL. Where I mean, I think their weak point was that pitching, and it just adds that frontline starter to just add to an already stacked roster.
No, I mean they're really good. That's why I would predict them if I'm going to predict. They're my favorites for the AL East, but you guys are right on them. The Blue Jays are still very solid team, and they don't always live up to their reputation because they got some killer lineup additions. Somehow they take a while to get rolling normally, but like you mentioned earlier, the AL East is stacked, and
And yeah,
I'm
AL
unfortunate.
East is stacked. Blue Jays are solid. You know, you get Bo Bichette there. You got Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah.
You
And then
know,
they just
so
picked up my Justin Turner from the Boston Red Sox, who had,
yeah,
made me.
we got a lot of my guys on the other podcast I do, Touchdown in Paradise. They're Dodgers guys, so they love Justin Turner in LA. You know, that fiery redhead.
uh,
We'll go to the Red Sox. They didn't do much this year. I'm sorry, Rob.
it's
Added,
okay.
added Lucas Giolito, actually
Yeah.
from my hometown out there in well, not my hometown, but my state. He's out there from Harvard Westlake High School. High draft pick. You know, for me, I think it's like, low risk, high reward, because
Yeah.
he's
That's
had he's had some pretty good years in Chicago, some down years. He's definitely down now, but you can get him on the cheap. And if he gets back to form, it turns into a good deal. What do you think about that?
No, I like it. He's for one, there's a couple things I don't like. I don't like the past 2 years he's done. He hasn't really done that well the past 2 years. But if you go back to 2021, he has some really solid numbers. He pitched well. And in the past 2 years, not so much. Beginning of last year, he started doing well enough to where they were able to trade him to the Angels and get something back. But then he did so bad for the Angels, he didn't even make the end of the season with the Angels. So it's just that was bad. I actually got to see him pitch in person last year because we were on summer vacation and we were driving up to the Carolinas. But I happened to notice that the Angels would be playing the Braves while on the day we were going to be in Atlanta heading to. So we made an overnight stop in Atlanta just to catch that game. It was a noontime game, and he got rocked though by the Braves. But everyone was getting rocked by the Braves. But who knew I was looking at a future pitcher of the Red Sox when I was there that day? But he, like I say, he's an innings eater, so that helps because we had to go to the bullpen way too far, too many times, too soon in the game last season. So hopefully he eats some innings up. Hopefully, I know some people say pitching coaches, this could be over, but Andrew Bailey, who the Red Sox hired as a pitching coach, has a good reputation. So maybe because with talent, I think a pitching coach can help because obviously a pitching coach is not going to teach a bad guy how to be good, unfortunately, but he has the talent. So maybe Andrew Bailey can look at something and say, hey, I can get you back to your form. You're just doing this wrong. You're doing that. He has a very good reputation. And I'm hoping Andrew Bailey can get the best out of Lucas Giolito. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm hoping he can get the most out of him.
I mean, Red Sox didn't do much this year in free agency, obviously. It's been kind of slow personally for me ever since, Shohei.
Yeah, no, it's been it's not the NFL free agency where everyone's banging down the door 1 minute into the league year. It hasn't been a hot stove for a couple years in baseball.
No, it's we had Shohei and the other guy from Japan. Was it Yamamoto? I think his name is.
Yeah.
We went early, and that kind of after Soto and those guys, it kind of started slowing down. So I'm going to bring up Red Sox traded Chris Sale, got Vaughn Grisham,
Yeah.
and he brought up saying his Red Sox 10-year was kind of a failure. As a Red Sox guy, what do you think of Chris Sale's tenure there? Was it a success? Was it a kind of a failure?
I would say middle of the road because I mean in 2018 he did get the final out of the World Series and all of that. So I mean he is good on that front. He helped us win the World Series in 2018, and so I can't blame him too much. But injuries derailed his career in Boston. It was you just couldn't depend on him, and it just sucked, to say the least. It just sucked as far as injuries. But when he was able to play, he put up some decent numbers. But after getting his second, when we gave him the extension, he was never really the same after that. He just kind of started breaking down injury rise. And, who knows? He'll probably go to Atlanta, have a rebirth, and, be up for Cy Young. That'd be so Red Sox for that to happen. I'm just hoping Grisham comes in. We didn't have a second baseman, so he can come in, start at second base, and I think our infield will be decent this year as far as the hitting aspect of
Yeah,
our
get
infield.
hopefully Trevor Story can stay healthy. That
Stay
was big
healthy.
for me
Yeah.
with it a couple years ago. So that was their big one to replace Bogarts or play second base, and didn't hasn't worked out yet. But if he's healthy, that guy puts up numbers. I mean, I think yeah. I mean, obviously with Sale, it worked out. You got a World Series from it, but those injuries derailed him.
Yeah.
That guy, if he's healthy, that's a big lefty. He's got that whippy left-handed motion coming from him. He's massive.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
I I, I think he'll probably be pretty good in Atlanta there.
well, I think so too because Atlanta's a really good team and they're going to give him run support, so he's going to get some wins. But then he just hasn't eaten up innings for a while because he ends up getting a high pitch count. He's been a little. To me, I was disappointed to see him go, but I understand the move. They freed up because they're all about money right now. But they're the Boston Red Sox. They shouldn't be worrying about money. That's what got them finally competing. They were no longer the little brother of the Yankees anymore because they started spending money and they started beating the Yankees at times. So it finally became a real rivalry. And now we're going back to what? Not wanting to spin. I just don't get it. I mean, I don't want them to go crazy because, as we pointed out when we just talked off camera and on the phone, just because you spend money doesn't mean you're going to win. But at least it helps, when you already got some good young guys. I do like some of the guys in the Red Sox lineup. Don't get me wrong. So they're going to be fun to watch this year. I'm going to get my MLB extra inning package just because of the Boston Red Sox. And now I will watch more games because we're going to be talking about all baseball
Oh yeah,
teams.
I mean, it's definitely it's not your Big Poppy, Manny Ramirez, Jason Varitek type of team anymore. Where the Red Sox really don't have that guy that are going to bring in. Now Red Sox, they're always going to sell out. I mean, as good as the Patriots or the I mean, it's a Red Sox town. It's always going to be a Red Sox town. So they're always going to sell out, and that's definitely a bucket list for me. I still haven't been to Fenway. I've been
Oh, it's
there.
a great park to go to.
I've
It's
never seen.
wonderful.
I've been there. Never been for a game, and definitely something I got to get to. Just even though I'm a Yankees fan, it's historic. I'm all about the history. That and
Yeah.
Wrigley, best two ballparks in
Nope.
in MLB.
No, no, it is. I haven't been to Wrigley yet, so that's on my bucket list one of these days, get out there. But yeah, Fenway's a great I think that's why they know they're gonna do well. So they're like, oh, people are gonna come anyway. They still got their New England Sports Network TV deal. They own the group that owns the Red Sox owns, and so they got their money coming in no matter what. So I'm like, I would have liked to see them do a little more in free agent. I'm not saying, go out there and do all the big blockbuster names just to throw money at the guys, but bringing me in, I mean, when the offseason started, I said, oh, we would settle on Jordan Montgomery. We're not even thinking about Jordan Montgomery. It doesn't, I was thinking, okay, because we're probably not going to get the Japanese guys. Okay. So at least we can get Jordan Montgomery. I understand we're probably not going to go after Blake Snell for the amount of money he's asking, but we can maybe get a Jordan Montgomery. But we're not even knocking down his door. It doesn't really seem like we're knocking on his door. To me, he's like a perfect fit for the Red Sox, and it would be a good move to go grab him and go get like Soler to be a DH. Even though we got Yoshida to be our DH, it looks like this year. So but I think our lineup's okay. We got Devers. Devers is one of the most fun guys to watch. He's just so entertaining. Rafael Devers, not the greatest in the field, but man, at this plate, he is so entertaining just on top of his great bat. He makes me laugh. I can't watch a Red Sox game without Devers doing something. Just give me a laugh during the game. He's just a fun guy. He's like talks to his bat. He does all kind. He's just an entertaining dude. And before the pitch clock, he would just lay there after they try to pick him off, and then he would just lay on. So it was fun. He's just entertaining. And so I like Devers. He's good. I like Tristan Casas at first base. He's a local kid from right where I am in Pembroke Pines, Florida. I think he could put up like maybe 30 home runs this year. Grissom at second base, I think, is an improvement over what we had a rotation of guys last year. I mean, Justin Turner played some second base for the Red Sox last year. So it'd be nice to see Grissom maybe man that position. Like you said, Trevor Story, hopefully he stays healthy. And then I like, Yoshida. He might be more of a DH, but to me, he was okay in left field, but I like his stick. I like Duran. There's a whole bunch of guys I really have. And Tyler O'Neill, he's an under the radar pickup. If you go back a couple of years ago, he had a really good season, and then he just fell off the map. We picked him up from the Cardinals. So there's some guys on the Red Sox that I have hope for, but the pitching outside of Bello and Pavetta and some, and Lucas Giolot, I don't know. There's a lot of questions. We got, because some of the guys
Duran,
that are going to be our starters are hoping we're going to be in the bullpen. So we will see.
Duran's a guy I like. He went to Long Beach State, so I saw him a couple times his senior year, and that it's just the type of guys, they're not sexy, they're not hitting for big power numbers, but they do everything. This guy's just, getting walks, getting base hits, stealing bases, causing havoc. So Duran's a guy I like, really like. I don't know. This for me. Devers is, and this kind of goes back to my early days, back in the 2000s and late in the 2010s, where Devers is the only guy who really kind of scares me in that lineup. Whereas like when Mariano Rivera came in, the Yankees, Red Sox, and Big Papi came, David Ortiz, Big Papi came up. That was the only guy my heart would go down, because I'd be like, fuck, this guy scares the shit out of me every
Of course,
time.
and we had Manny Ramirez back to back with those two. So that's like hard to, it's like that's a
And
bad, So I
it was
agree.
it
I
was
agree.
the only guy that I was like, Mo's unhittable, and the Papi would come up and just find a way to ruin that. I love him. I love David Ortiz on Fox. I think he's really entertaining. Hell of a ball player. Even though he's a Red Sox, I can still respect.
Oh no, he would be a legend in Red Sox Nation forever, because he's basically the guy we looked at that finally ended the curse. I know there's no such thing, but he finally ended the curse of the Bambino. He slayed the dragon known as the New York Yankees. He helped get over them. And once we got over that in 2004, then we won in 2007, 13, and 18. So it's just like we finally got off that monkey off our back. So that's why I can't pick on my Red Sox too much, because they've given me a lot of winning over the years. But I would like to see them be a little more aggressive and get up there, because there's no excuse. They're not the Florida Marlins. No offense to this great network who has a lot of Florida Marlin fans, but they have the budget to go get the money. There's no excuse not to spend the money. I understand why the Marlins people don't show up for the Marlins. So there's Red Sox Nation shows up, like you say. It's
No
just
matter
crazy.
what, they're out there. It's a little weird, but my grandfather's a big Red Sox fan. He grew up, Ted Williams is his guy, huge Red Sox guy. Even though we were Yankees fans, the reason I love baseball and played baseball my whole life was because of my grandfather, listening to all his stories about, hey, I saw Ted Williams in Fenway. I saw this guy. I used to, he used to play in the band for the St. Paul Saints before they were just independent. So I'd hear all those guys. So he passed away. He got to see the Red Sox beat the Dodgers in 2018. So even though I didn't really want to see him win, I was like, okay, my grandfather, who is the reason I love the game of baseball, got to see his team win right before he passed away in July of 2018. So that even though I was like, damn, that kind of hurts. I'm like, I can give it up for the man. The reason I love the game, he got to see his team win.
That's great, because the many Red Sox generation people didn't. They went 86 years. So before we move on from the Red Sox, that's Evan Posner. He's from Montreal. You've probably seen him on the network. He's always on the Fins Talk Sports Network, like 24/7. But anyway, he's from Montreal, so he was an Expo fan back in the day. So he always reminds me that Pedro Martinez, started over there before he helped the Red Sox become prominent.
Hey, I mean, the Expos, they talk about the Expos, man. They had some players. I mean, they had Randy Johnson early on there too. And, they didn't have the shortened season in 94, they could have won the World Series.
Oh, I know. My wife says that all the time. We would have won the World Series, because my disclaimer, my wife's from Montreal. But she always used to say that. I go, well, we don't know, but she just swears they would have won the World Series that year. So
So I mean, it's I don't know about you. I think baseball's always talking about expansion. They throw out, Portland or Nashville's trying to get one. I was in Nashville last year, so they're building a stadium, trying to get a team right now.
they should get one. That's an area of baseball they need one there. I agree. So,
Besides, it's definitely besides that Atlanta, there's not many teams. I don't know about you're a true Florida guy. I don't feel Miami, Tampa, Orlando, maybe are really true South. Now, you driving through Florida, especially here in Sarasota, I get 5 miles outside of Sarasota going away from the beach. It gets really southern, really kind of, you're getting your cows. But I don't feel like it's the true South. I feel like more it's like East Coast living.
right. So, hey, and also don't forget Andre Dawson, guys. Sorry, Russ, I know what you're saying. So I get it. I just wanted to make sure you guys remember Andre Dawson. He went to Southwest Miami High School. That's the high school I went to. He's like our most famous player that ever went to Southwest High. He went there before me, but he was probably there in the early 70s because I know his rookie tops cards like 1977 tops. So he had it somewhere in that year, but he was there and I went there in the 80s. But he is the most famous. So do not forget about Hawk Andre Dawson. I had to throw that in
Not
there.
forget about him. That's definitely true. Miami, that Southwest, that Miami area just pumps. Dade City, they pump out players. Especially, here we got IMG, which is good, very good. But definitely Florida, just they're pumping out players, and you got obviously what was it? Is it Westminster where A Rod went?
Yeah,
Charlie?
Westminster is where A-Rod went. But we got
Yeah,
so many um baseball powerhouses here now. So it's crazy.
yeah.
It's,
Florida definitely just and it definitely goes back to you get to play baseball. I'm from Southern California, so same thing. You get to play baseball 12 months out of the year. There's no off time. It's definitely we've had a weird winter here where it's been in the 50s and people are complaining. I'm kind of like, hey, it's a nice change of pace, but you get to play 12 months out of the year. You get a little rain, but that's it. But especially in your Miami area, you get some of those Latin kids who are just
oh man.
dominating MLB
Oh no, I
now.
mean, like I say, I'm in one of my Red Sox right now, and he's not Tristan Costas. He's from down here, so I mean, I think he went to a Heritage. I forget which one, but so they're always good. But yes, Evan, yes, I know everyone in the American League East is going to be better than the Red Sox probably this year, but I'm okay with it because the Red Sox have done a lot of winning. I do think they got some good guys coming up in the future. I know we will move on to some of the other teams now, but so we're not all Red Sox here, and we already talked about your Yankees. So but
Well,
to
I'll
finish it
give
up,
you a couple
yeah,
names to watch out for the Red Sox. Is 25 would be Blaze Jordan.
yeah. Anthony
And
Roman is a guy that there's a whole bunch of them. Yeah, but Blaze Jordan, I know, but that's what I say. It's a bridge year this year,
Blaze
unfortunately.
Jordan, Marcelo Mayer. He's from San Diego, California. High pick. That's definitely probably more 26, maybe 25, but those are a couple names. Blaze Jordan was a
Yeah,
12-year-old phenomenon hitting 400-foot home runs and then hitting
so go ahead.
500 foot. So they're definitely Red Sox kind of playing for the future.
Yeah, I
This
know. It's just hard though. It's hard when you're your guy, man. And you're like a diehard fan, and you just want them to be good now, and it's just because we're the Red Sox, and I don't believe that they should be cheap like they've been cheap. But I take it. It's just what it is, unfortunately.
Well,
So
it was definitely weird last year. You have the Yankees who are 2 games over 500 and fourth, and the Red Sox finished last. I'm like, you don't see that since the 70s type of thing. So, but I feel with the Red Sox and the Yankees are good. It's just better for baseball. It brings more eyes. New York sells out. Boston always sells out. So it's a little different, but hopefully the Red Sox definitely trying to play that future. Just how we've seen it. Look at the Diamondbacks. Look at the Rangers. They're definitely they hit on some players. So I feel like that's what they're trying to go for.
I
I
know.
would
I just think Tom Warner, who's with the Red Sox organization, he misled fans because he said, "Oh, the Red Sox are going to go full throttle," and they got rid of Bloom, who was known to be from the Rays, and he was trying to build up the farm system. So they said, "Oh, we're going to go full throttle." So everyone just thought once they brought in Breslow that, "Oh, we're going to go full throttle." Now Theo Epstein's back in the fold, but he's more of just an overseer, advisor with the Fenway Sports Group. So we all thought, hey, they're going to go full throttle and sign all these guys, and nothing happened. But anyway, we can move on. But
All right.
yes, Evan, I know I'm very happy that Theo is back. So we'll see if he lends an ear to the owners during this season to get ready for next season's free agent.
This next move kind of bugged me a little bit. Houston Astros added Josh Hader. Now
Yes.
all my guys are from California, so they really hate on the Astros because of the scandal they had. Personally, for me being a Yankees fan, we got screwed that year too. Screwed, but I'm like, we were up 3-2 going into Game 6. Lost Game 6 in Houston. Lost Game 7 in Houston. Right? We lost 3-2 Game 7. So everybody's like, they were cheating this, and this. I'm like, yeah, on offense they were cheating. You still got to get base hits and score runs. I'm like, so I'm like, yeah, I can see it. They cheated against us. I can see it, but I'm like, we didn't score. We scored 2 runs. You can't expect to win a game. I mean, I was a little more mad the year, was it 2019 when, Altuve sitting on a Chapman slider and just, puts it into left center there. But I feel even, they added Josh Hader, and that guy's a stud on the back
He
end.
is. I mean, he's the best reliever on the market. It's really the only thing they added, but they're already
and it just adds, and it's now after they've lost all those guys after Verlander, you're going with a bunch of guys in that staff that they're not the high profile names, but they're just eating up innings, getting it done, adding to that back end. And even though it's going to be a down year, it's just that front office does an unbelievable job. So for me, it's just I'm always worried about the Astros. I don't know about you. I'm always like,
oh no, they're still going to be contention, and the Rangers. I mean, we'll get to them in a minute, but they've taken a step back. They're the defending champs of the World Series, but I mean, the Astros still could rule that division. So.
The West is definitely down. The Angels are down. Obviously, then the A's might as well be a minor league.
Yeah, no, the A's. You can't almost mention the A's in there. And the Angels. If they didn't win with Ohtani and Trout on there, I just don't see what they're going to do. And then we'll see. We would get to all the teams, but
I mean, the Astros. I mean, you add Hader on the back end, which just adds to their already strong bullpen. They re-signed Altuve, who you can say whatever you want about Altuve. The guy's just a nightmare to face. He went for 5 for 125. You got
he's a beast. And before the whole cheating scandal, he was probably like most people's favorite player outside of their favorite team because he's like the little guy overcoming the odds. And he's like, oh, look at this little guy. He's out there hitting dinger. Then the cheating scandal hits, and then no one likes him from that moment on. But outside of Astro fans, it's crazy how things can, change like that.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a great ball player, man.
Unbelievable. You still got Bregman there, who I've loved Bregman since his college days at LSU.
LSU, yeah.
So I mean, it's always an Astros is always a team you got to worry about, and we'll see what they do. Verlander's 39, almost 40, but he's still, throwing up innings.
Nope, I mean, they're still good. I mean, I would probably predict them to win the division again out there. So
All right, so this is more NL, but I kind of want to. Obviously, Angels. They lost Ohtani. What's your opinion on Mike? How the Angels have handled Mike Trout? Do you think they're kind of wasting his career? This is probably one of the best baseball players you've ever seen in the last 40 years. This guy's a freak.
Yeah, I know it's a shame because a lot of people don't even know him that well because he's out there on the West Coast, so they don't even see him play. His team's never in the playoffs. So the casual baseball fan that or an old big fart like me who goes to bed, or unless the Red Sox are out on the West, I go to bed behind the West games are starting up. So you don't even get to see Mike Trout that much. You know, he knew signing the contract, but he probably thought the Angels would eventually win. I wish he would have had an opt out like Bobby Witt gave himself with the Royals. We will get to that in a few minutes, I know, on your list. But like at least he can see, like, oh, if the Royals aren't doing that well and I want to get to a winner, I can opt out and try to go to a team that wants to win. I wish Trout had something like that in his contract. So he could opt out and then go try to test the open market and go because the guy is phenomenal. Outside of getting hurt, he's had the injury bugs the past couple of seasons. But if he can stay healthy, I mean, Trout is one of the best baseball players on the planet. And I just think he gets overlooked because he's on the Angels, who's never in the playoffs. And it's just a shame. So I don't know. Yes, the Angels are wasting it. They tried because last year they did make a couple deadlines at desperation to try to, put a winner on the field last year to get them into the playoffs. But I think it is a shame in a way that his career is going away without him being in the limelight. This guy needs to be seen in the World Series, in the playoff baseball because he's that good. He's that phenomenal of a player. He can field at a gold glove level. He can hit for power. He can run the bases for speed. I mean, the guy's just an all around stud on the baseball diamond. And there's a lot of people don't even get to see him because he's out, other than people on the West Coast. It's just a shame. I agree with you, Russ.
I 100% agree. I did see. I mean, I'm a West Coast guy, so I got to see him, and it's an amazing thing to see. But he's just sitting there wasting away in Anaheim, not Los Angeles. He's in Anaheim. The
Yeah.
Los Angeles Anaheim of Angels makes no sense because they're nowhere near Los Angeles. But I'm like, this guy is not enough people get to see him. He's the Angels. They've been to one playoff series in his whole career,
Yeah.
and he's just sitting there wasting away. I would love to see him on a contending team because this guy's box office. It's kind of sad. Bringing up Bobby Witt, he signed that 11-year deal. This guy, I think he won the AL Rookie of the Year a couple years ago.
Yeah. He's another guy that and he's a shortstop, so he's really at a prime.
Prime
I mean,
position,
yeah.
number one overall pick a couple years ago. Obviously the Royals, they had their couple good years and then went back to what the Royals did. But I think they got some guys coming up on the Royals, maybe not next couple
And
year or two, but
yeah, and I put a little star next to there. I kind of like what they've done in free agency. Like you say, they read up, Bobby Witt, and then they got Seth Lugo and Michael Waka, who spent some time as a Red Sox. So I think they're shoring up. I mean, they got Hunter Renfroe, Will Smith, who's like won the last couple Worlds here with them, So not that he's just a relief pitcher, but it's just like he happens to be on the World Series team. I think was it 2 or 3 years in a row. So something crazy like that. So it's nuts. And then, so they've done some decent moves. And then they got Adam Frazier and stuff like that. So I think they've done some decent moves. Nothing, they didn't get them, they didn't make headlines like an Otani or some crazy name like that, or a Soto like your Yankees. But I think they got some solid guys to come in there to go with some of their youthful guys. And I think they could be on the rise.
yeah, I mean, the AL Central is always really weird. It could, you have one or two teams that are really good, and then, last year you had the Twins, and that was about it.
Yeah.
It's definitely, the Tigers rebuilding,
But Detroit has some decent young guys too. So and the Guardians. I still want. If I say Indians, people, it's not offensive. It's just I grew up saying Indians, but I said Guardians this time. So Guardians or Cleveland, and then they got some decent teams, young. But Guardians have had some good years. But now with Terry Francona not being there, things change. Maybe who knows.
talk about Terry Francona, Tito, man, that one of the best coaches I've ever seen. Obviously, dominated with the Red Sox and did help things with the Indians. U of A guy, so I'm a U of A baseball guy, football guy, so
Yeah.
basketball too, obviously. But
Yeah.
he's a Arizona legend out there. But
I mean,
Tito, man, great coach.
no, he's good, man. It's just, he's just like guy, and it was a shame to see him leave the Red Sox kind of the way and he did. And I was happy to see him land on his feet and go over to Cleveland, so it really worked out. And yes, Josh, we touched on Fenway earlier, but yes, Fenway is awesome experience for fans. It's wonderful. Glad you got to experience. I was able to blessed enough to be able to get my family all the way from South Florida a couple years ago and get them to experience Fenway Park as well. My wife and 2 sons. So memories we would never forget. It was awesome. So because I
All
had
right.
gone there as a kid, and then I wanted to make sure because my kids just kind of follow me. I don't force it on them, but they're Dolphin fans and Red Sox fans. So it's just, it's just by osmosis. I don't make them, but they just kind of followed my lead, and that's the 2 teams that they follow all the time. So it
Well,
was
hey,
great getting them.
I agree with my dad. I'm from Southern California. I grew up outside of LA. My dad's from New York, so he's a Yankees Jets. I'm a Celtics fan. It's kind of weird, but I got my stories. Can get into it. And I was never following LA teams. I'm a diehard New York Jets fan, huge Yankees fan. I'm like, you can either go with your hometown teams or my dad. My dad never forced it on us, and Yankees were good, when I was early, not really as much, lately, haven't won since '09. Jets never, has always been a struggle being a Jets fan, but I'd rather be a Jets fan than a Giants fan for me. But I totally agree with you. It's just like, hey, go with your hometown teams or go with your father's pick. So that's what I did. I,
Yeah.
I'm glad I did because I don't want to be a Dodgers guy.
Yeah. No, I agree. And the only reason I don't, if the Marlins would have been in existence, that's probably the team I would have picked back in the day because there was no baseball team when I was down here. So I picked the Red Sox and my football team, the Dolphins, was just by birth, basically. I've been a Dolphin fan just from living in South Florida. It just took over me. So those are my 2 teams I have a passion for. So, but it's just funny. My sons never forced it on them. Who knows? But I would joke sometimes. Oh, they had no choice, but I never really forced it on them. They just became those fans. So I'm happy.
So that's great. Passionate about baseball, following, and I love it. Let's go into a little free agency. Still got a lot of big names on the market here: Cody Bellinger, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Matt Chapman, Jorge Soler. We talked about it the other day on the phone. Why do you think these guys are still, on the market? These are big name free agents. It
Well, I
kind of
know Scott Boras represents a couple of them, so that's probably a big reason right there because Scott Boras is going to. I think he represents Snell and Montgomery, right? I
yeah,
believe so.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, those are 2 big, and hey, if I like I told you on the phone, if I was a player, I would want Boras as my agent. But teams are probably like, oh my God, we got to deal with Boras because he's going to milk every penny he can out of the team for his player, which is his job to do. So that's what he has to do. But man, it's just at some point he's going to have to come down a little bit. Maybe he's asking for way too much because he told me what he was asking for Snell. The Yankees offered him a decent amount of money and he scoffed at it. So I don't know. The market may not be there this year. He may end up having to sign a 1-year deal and hope the market's bigger next year. So
I
I don't.
know I know Snell was like, I think it was 6 for 150. Montgomery's the guy who was kind of surprising. The guy who was, a headliner for the World Series Rangers team that won he was, top 3 man in the rotation, and he's still, sitting out there. I know they brought up the Yankees might bring him back, and I've read some stories that he's a little, soured on the Yankees because they didn't put him in their postseason rotation. Matt Chapman, big third baseman there, still kind of sitting there, which is a little surprising because he was a hot name for a
I
while.
know. I know. It's crazy that those names are out there. I mean, I would love if we get off this podcast and the Red Sox shock me and they sign just Montgomery and Soler. I would think that would put us into contention right away. But it's so simple, but they just don't want to spend that money. So
I mean, Chapman was definitely, it's kind of surprising because he was a hot name on the trade market for a long time there. So it's kind of surprising he's still sitting, not a lot of bites.
I don't
Solar,
understand why the guy can field and hit. I mean, he must just be asking for, he may have end up taking on, uh, big, I don't know, man. So
I mean,
who knows? I
Solar
don't know.
was
I wonder if he's a Boris. I don't know who his agent is, but maybe I don't know. He's maybe asking for the world, but the guy can, he's a really good third baseman and he can hit, and he's a lefty bat. I don't understand why teams aren't jumping at him. So
and
maybe something to jump in on him.
Solar was a hot name early, and now it's cooled down. That's a guy who's going to bring you some power numbers, and he was a name. I know the Yankees were talking a little bit, and Giants. I see Giants maybe in on Matt Chapman. Snell's the guy I feel kind of surprised about because this is a guy who won a Cy Young a couple years ago, and he's still sitting there. I mean, I guess he wants more than what he is. Big Tampa, was big here with the Rays, and he's just kind of sitting there. I guess I don't. Maybe he's just asking for too much. That
Yeah.
and that probably is. People are not viewing him the way he views himself. That maybe he'll have to take a shorter term deal, 1 or 2 year with an opt out or something like that
Yeah.
to get,
Yep.
to get back to free agency next year. Have it approve a deal.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to think because before you know it, I mean, like I said, on February 25th, I'm going to be at a spring training game, so it's coming right around. I'm going to the Red Sox versus Twins on February 25th, so it's right around the corner, and it's
Yeah,
they
it's right here. The first game for Baltimore is on the 28th, right here in Sarasota. So and pitchers are weird. You got to get them in. They need to get their routine. You're gonna be getting into a new team. Get used to those guys. Pitchers need those routines. I feel like I don't know about you, but the COVID year, I'm like, I don't consider it a World Series.
Now, me either, man. That's why to me that Dodgers. That's why I think the Dodgers feel the pressure because they've choked almost all the playoffs. And I know next week, Josh, we're going to talk about the Phillies more because we're going to do the National League. But yeah, the Dodgers just kind of had an asterisk on that World Series.
It's just like baseball is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're going 60 games, and all sports is dealing with travel, dealing with fans.
That's what I was going to say. The fans and not having to play in a team's opposing stadium with people yelling and screaming at you every time you come up to the plate. So I agree.
So I mean, all that playoffs there. What in San Diego and LA? I think it was Arizona. Might have been Miami too. And then they play the World Series in Texas. I'm like, they never had to leave. You never had to deal with those travel days, which is part of sports. Same thing
Right.
with the COVID year for basketball. But I'm even though I'm not as excited on the Yankees this year, just because I'm always going to be a negative sports fan. I'm still excited for baseball. I'm excited. I got some prospects. I'm really excited to see Wyatt Langford won with the Rangers.
Oh no, he's a really
Oh,
good guy out of University of Florida. I've seen
yo,
him play in person in University of Florida. My son's a Gator, so we went up there and I went to a few baseball games. And that kid he's a baller, really good all around player. He's going to be fast to the majors. He's a really he's good man. I like him.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see him. Obviously, Evan Carter, got his postseason run there, but he's still a rookie. So I mean, the Rangers for me, I'm like they haven't done much this off season.
No, they haven't. And
It's
maybe they would still sign Jordan Montgomery back. I don't know, but you
I,
know,
they
I don't know.
lost a little money. They had a TV deal. Felt
Yeah, I did hear
felt
that. I did hear that they aren't going to have their TV deal and that they won't have as much revenue. It's crazy. They're coming off a World Series and then they lose a TV deal. You think
It
it'd be the
sounds like
opposite.
sorry, South Florida. It sounds like something the Marlins would do.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. No, that's why I said sorry because they're known not to spend money. But the Rangers coming off a championship. I mean, World Series champions, and you don't decide to add. Who did they add? I wrote down some stuff. They lost Mitch Garver in free agency. Gordon Montgomery, we don't know. they added some bullpen guys, and David Robinson, who spent time with the Mets in Miami last year, and he was a Yankee in the past. He did okay for you. The Marlins, he didn't do too well for, and then Kirby Yates. But yeah, they haven't really done much, Russell.
They haven't done much, and it's kind of surprising. But that's they've lost some. They're going to lose some revenue stream with losing that TV rights.
Yeah,
I'm excited. There's Brooks Lee with the Twins. He's from Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo. I saw this guy at the area code games in Long Beach when he was going to his senior year, and this is a guy who just does it all. High draft pick. I'm really excited to see him.
yeah.
I'm excited to see Pete Crow Armstrong was a high pick with the Mets, and they got traded to the Cubs for Javi Baez. He's actually from the same high school Lucas Giolito went, which is
Okay.
a powerhouse. Jack Flaherty. Their starting rotation one year was Lucas Giolito, Jack Flaherty, and Max Fried. So they're pumping kids out. And Pete Crow Armstrong saw that kid when he was a junior and senior, and I'm excited to see him. Jared Jones is a guy who's a little lower, but he was a Southern California guy too, hitting 100, 101 his junior, senior year. He's with the Pirates. The one I'm really excited about, and I'm really kind of happy for this kid when I scouted, is Paul Skeens out of LSU. This kid is a stand-up individual. I scouted him. He came out when I was with PBR. He came out to our, MLB showcase, and this, he was 6'4" at the time. He was a catcher, but this guy, he signed with Air Force because he wanted to be in the Air Force, and he stuck with his commitment. And he's just a stand-up individual, great guy, great kid. I'm really excited to see him. And obviously, if you follow college baseball, just dominated college baseball. So I'm excited to see him. Hopefully, get out here. The Pirates are out in Bradenton. Some guys I'm really excited. And obviously, Jackson Holiday is the number one name to follow. Matt Holiday's son. That guy's just been flying.
He's flying through, man. They were showing him on the MLB Network. They're saying he might be a top 100 player already, and they go, and then the one guy's like, no, whoa, you can't be putting him a top 100 if he hasn't done his mark yet in the MLB. But he goes, this guy's so special. Look how great he is, and so we will see what he does. But another factory down here, unfortunately, it was where the shooting was, Stoneman Douglas. But that baseball program is phenomenal, and the Red Sox top. Going back to my Red Sox, Roman Anthony's from there. He's really rising. He's our number one prospect right now. And then over Marcelo Meyer is, right. So he's number one, and Mayer's number two. So, we got some young guys I'm excited for. But like I said, they're not going to be on the major league team this year. So.
I mean, it's definitely teams they're seeing the Astros formula.
Yeah,
it panned out that if we can do this, we get some guys that can hit, but you need to hit on those guys.
Yeah. It is. It's all because they all look good in the minors, and then is that next step is the big difference. So we'll see how they do. We'll see.
Astros hit on George Springer and Bregman, and
they just nailed it, man. I mean, they just all these guys up to be.
Is it Correa? Correa lived in Miami, I thought, right?
Yeah, I think he did.
He's Puerto Rican, but I think he stayed in Miami just
because so many people down here. I can't keep track of them all, but
I mean, I'm excited for spring training now. What's your assessment on the Red Sox this year? What's your predictions? How do you feel about the year?
I just feel like, unfortunately, we'll probably take up the bottom of the barrel again, once again, in the AL East. But there's potential for the future. I will still watch them almost every single night that is feasible if I don't have other commitments. So it's just I don't see any light. Like I say, there's still some big names in the market. This could change if I find out we signed, but just like we're not even linked to any of the good names left. We're not linked to Soler or Montgomery. And so, but if I end up seeing that we get one of them, I can say, hey, maybe we can at least get out of the bottom of the division and start working for the future. But right now, I see the Orioles just finishing a little bit above you guys, and then it's between you and the Blue Jays, and I see us and the Rays, but I see the Rays finally taking a step back. I write them off every year, but I think this year they take a little. They basically got rid of Glass now, but they always seem to bounce back. They get rid of these big players, and then they find some other guy that just ends up
Yeah.
being like, "Who's this guy?"
I mean,
And then all of a
I,
sudden,
I agree with you. I mean, the Red Sox definitely, I think they're playing for the future. The Yankees, I mean, it's tough. Baltimore's obviously going to be the cream of the crop in the AL, especially with that addition.
yeah,
Toronto always seems to cause problems. The Rays, even though they've lost Glass now, lost Wander Franco for all the reasons we know why, but
yeah, I know.
they always find a guy. And I'm really worried about our pitching staff after Garrett Cole. Stroman hopefully can eat some innings. Rendon, who's off injured. Hopefully it's a year where he's not injured. Feels like it's every other year. And we're struggling with that fifth man in the rotation. I'm hoping Soto. Will
I mean,
provide
you
a
probably
little.
have the two favorites for the American League MVP if you look at odds. It's probably Judge and Soto from what I was seeing on the MLB network the other night. They were saying the Yankees have two of the top, according to one of those betting apps, is like they're the best. They pay the lowest if you bet on them, is what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah,
they're
I
more
mean,
favored. Yeah,
I
more
hope
favored to win. So
he's definitely going to provide a little protection for Judge. That was supposed to be Stanton, but Stanton, he can't stay healthy, or he just doesn't do it. He doesn't do it for me, at least. So I see us maybe competing, but 1 through 3 is very close in the AL East. Baltimore and Tampa Bay is always going to find a way to just sneak in there every year. Just
yeah,
their front office does a phenomenal
no,
job.
you're right. You're right, 100%. That's why I said I shouldn't be writing them off. But I just want some misery down with me down on the bottom because right now, and it's not like the Red Sox were awful last year. They were just in a tough division. I mean, they still won 78 games, I think, or so. Don't hold me to the exact, but somewhere in there. I mean, so they're right. But they were hovering around, getting close to the 500 mark. It's just but they're just in such a tough division that it's you're in last place with that record.
Yeah, I mean the AL's always stacked. The AL's going to be obviously Astros, Rangers. AL East is just it's a murderer's row of teams week in and week out. But we're going to be covering NL next week.
Yeah, we're gonna do that next week, Anthony. National League today was just like American League, but yeah, we will get into that. That's gonna
NL is going to be fun. Obviously,
yeah.
Yamamoto and Shohei. So I'm excited for next week. Talking basically, the big moves. Talking Dodgers dominating the offseason. And even when we were talking AL, I'm like, well, it's basically Dodgers offseason. So I'm excited. But I'm super Rob. I'm super glad that we got Finns Talk Sports Network gave us this opportunity to come on here talk baseball. So I'm really jacked up for the year. I'm glad I'm getting to do this with you, and I'm hoping we have a great year of baseball.
No, no, that's what I'm hoping for as well. It's like I say, baseball's always fun. I love it. I know some people say the sport's dying and it's not the same and it's an old man sport or whatever, but I still love it. It'll always be part of who I am. It's just to me, there's nothing like the crack of the bat and the hearing of the leather in the glove and just the drama of when bottom of the ninth inning or top whatever you want to say in the ninth inning and the game's on the line. There's nothing to me like baseball. It's just I love it. It's awesome, and it's going to be good to have it back.
I don't know. I don't know about you, but if I don't have kids, but I'd be like, if I'm seeing all this money and getting thrown around, and you're a sports player, go play baseball because you're getting guaranteed money.
I know it's crazy. Unfortunately, my kids have my DNA and they don't have the skills. My sons both played baseball. My oldest son played all the way through high school, but that was it. Now he wasn't a Division 1 type. He wanted to go to University of Florida. He knew he wasn't going to play baseball there. Those are studs. It's like a farm system there. So they get the best of the best. But they were all good, solid players, both of them. But It's just unfortunately they had my DNA in there. They aren't throwing 99 miles per hour or hitting the ball a country mile over the fence. So but it's a great sport. Yeah, that's a sport to me, and I hope it doesn't die. I think some of the rules. I know old time baseball. Oh, they should have changed the rules, but that's. I think the rules overall they helped because it does speed up the game and it didn't take away. You can complain about the bigger bases and whatever, but anything that adds more eyeballs and helps people, I don't care. I don't care if they experiment as long as they don't go crazy and really change the rules, to like 2 outs an inning or something, as long as they don't go crazy on us. I say, I like some of the rule changes because they're trying to bring, and I'm not the biggest fan of the commissioner. I'll be first to say it, but at least they're trying to do some things to get younger people liking baseball.
Yeah, yeah, the bases are kind of weird, and the only can pick off once without having,
Yeah.
Twice or something like that's kind of weird. So,
Yeah, a couple like
but,
that I think they should tink with because it takes away from the strategy of the game, and now that you can basically get a great jump if you go over there twice and don't get them. So yeah, there's a couple things I wish they would take out, but overall, at least they're trying to build their base. Not base it, but build their fan base, and I understand it.
Needs to get some young fan base, but Rob, I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited that we got this opportunity. And please remember, like, comment, subscribe. This is on deck.
Smash that like button, guys. Don't break the computer, but
on deck.
Smash that like button.
Finch Talk Sports Network. Rob, really excited. Looking forward to next week.
Yeah, we would get Evan on here one day too. He's a big baseball fan, so we can get all kinds of people, guys. So join. Yes, Russ, is going to be fun next week talking about the National League, this same channel. Eventually, we may get other times, but for right now, this is perfect. So, Russ, thank you for giving the time, and I'm going to close us out here.
Sounds great.
It's the Finch Talk Sports Network, FTSN, talking major sports and even wrestling. Bobby